Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next-level tactics. From off-site and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition.
Welcome back to the SEO.co podcast in the series Link Building Guide for Growing Organic Startup Traffic. In this episode, we're going to dive into your social media following. For both your corporate brand and your personal brand, you'll want to start building a bigger social media following. You can do this by promoting on-site content, sharing the work of others, engaging in conversations relevant to your industry, and reaching out to individuals who might be interested in your work. A bigger, more relevant social following will help you in the following ways. Higher relevance to publishers. Social media is another place journalists and publishers often look when researching potential stories to cover. If you only have a handful of followers, or worse, you don't have any social media profiles at all, you'll seem irrelevant or not worth covering. On the other hand, if there are thousands of people already following and engaging with you, you'll appear more relevant, and you'll have an easier time getting coverage. Greater publication reach. Once a piece is published in a media outlet, you'll have the power to promote that piece further, giving you greater visibility and reputation values. The bigger your social media audience is, the better benefits you'll see from this. Simply sharing new press release to a few thousand followers can instantly raise its traffic and popularity. New opportunities. Once you hit a certain threshold, you'll find that new opportunities for media exposure will start presenting themselves. Some of your followers will take note of your work and either ask you for an engagement opportunity or may feature you in a work of their own. It's like putting your media exposure campaign on autopilot. Connecting with journalists. Early on, while you're still building your foundation, it's a good idea to strike up relationships with journalists you feel might be relevant to your brand. A major factor for success in the media exposure world is the strength and reach of your connections, so the sooner you initiate these connections, the better. There are many places to look for journalists, some of which are more obvious than others. You can generally find their contact information on their respective publishers' sites, but a better way to find them is to meet them through social networking sites or in-person networking events. You can even find them in journalist-specific meetups. They likely receive an overwhelming number of queries through their professional emails, so you'll stand out more if you meet them in person. You don't have to do anything special when starting a connection. Simply introduce yourself, ask them about their position and about their work, and leave the door open for future interactions. If you really want to stick in their memory, help them out in some way or take them out for lunch or coffee in the near future. Creating a watch list. In addition to hunting down some journalists, you'll also want to create a kind of watch list for news sources and publishers who may wish to publish content related to your brand in the future. This will make things much easier when it comes time to shop around a potential story. You don't need anything fancy here. A simple spreadsheet will do. There are 4 things you'll want to record in addition to any special notes you might have. Title. The title or URL of the publisher is a must for obvious reasons. Niche. Take note of the niche the publisher occupies. This will help you filter your pitches in the future. For example, let's say SMB Sam is remodeling his entire coffee house. This is a topic that fits especially well with local news sites. But let's say instead he's experimenting with a new blend of coffee. This would fit better with coffee specialists. Understanding the niche of each publisher will help you pitch more appropriately and increase the likelihood of your stories getting in front of the right audiences. Authority. You'll also want to note the relative authority of each publisher. Consider using a domain authority checker here. The higher the authority of the site, the more value you'll get from being featured there, but the harder it's going to be. I recommend you eventually sort your spreadsheet based on authority. When you first start out, you'll be circling the bottom of the list, but you'll gradually climb your way upward to the more valuable publishing opportunities. Relationship. You may also want to take note of any special relationships you might have with the publisher, such as a journalist you can contact or a method of engagement or submission that is of particular importance. If you're submitting your own work, editorial guidelines will also be helpful. This will become increasingly necessary as you engage with more publishers. Leveraging the power of influencers. Finally, you'll want to start tapping into the power of influencers, if you can. Influencer marketing is the process of engaging with noteworthy, high-authority individuals, usually strong personal brands or other thought leaders in your industry, to gain exposure or authority for your brand. The best way to do this is through ongoing relationships with key influencers, such as regular conversations, content collaborations, or other exchanges of value. The earlier you scout for and build these relationships, the more power you'll be able to tap, especially later on. Influencers will help your content and social media campaigns grow, multiplying the benefits of these foundational elements, which I've already covered before. They may also be able to help you find new journalists and new publishers, as they tend to be well connected in their respective industries. With all these aspects in place, your foundation will be more or less complete. From there, you'll be able to start doing the work of attracting and creating media exposure opportunities. Thanks for joining us again on the SEO.co podcast, and join us on the next episode as we move into Phase 2 of the Link Building Guide for growing organic startup traffic. Thanks again.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.